Hi, it's me, Jennifer Coolidge. Just kidding, y'all. It's Damiana. You know I can't afford Jennifer Coolidge in this podcast studio. And by podcast studio, I mean the corner of my bedroom because I can't afford a podcast studio either. This week we are going, I don't want to say lazy, but kind of lazy, but also I'm just conserving the natural resources of this earth by reusing and recycling the coffee that I had yesterday. So we went to Dunkin' yesterday and I used my little birthday cards that my friends Emily and Andrea got me, and I got an iced, I think, red velvet macchiato or something from Dunkin', and I brought it home and it didn't taste anything like it was supposed to taste. I also got a brownie butter donut. But I think I had half of the latte. I don't think I had half the latte before I was done with it. I got home and had to fix it up. Thank God I have a coffee bar at home, so I'm not just SOL when I get home and my drink kind of sucks. Because they also forgot to get me a straw, so I couldn't taste it and decide in the car whether or not it was good. So I just kind of had my hopes up on the way home. I was like, ooh, this is going to be pretty. I mean, yummy because it was pretty. It was pink and layered. And I was like, ooh, this is a vibe. And then I got home and it was not sweet at all. It tasted absolutely nothing. And espresso from Dunkin' is not the best. I know that I'm a coffee snob, but the espresso from Dunkin' is so bad. And I don't know why I got it. I literally just got it because it was pretty. And I was like, it's my birthday. Who cares? It's going to be fun. Maybe I'll like it. I didn't. So I got home and I put caramel in it. And so basically, this is an oat milk and caramel latte that's just dyed pink for no reason. I also feel like the caffeine levels at Dunkin' is kind of low. So I'm actually kind of banking on that being the truth, telling myself that that's the truth because it's 9 p.m. and I have to wake up early tomorrow because I just got told a little bit ago that they need me to come in earlier tomorrow. So let's pray that the caffeine content in this is basically Zill. Last week I decided to upload at 3:33 a.m., aka the witching hour, the perfect time to upload, and I got a whole 3 new followers. So I can't tell if that jinxed myself or if that worked because 333 and then I got 3 new followers. That's kind of a slay, no? Also, can we talk about the energy of this last week? I feel like so many people have been angry or irate. I don't know what's going on in the planets. Can somebody tell me? But it's not even a coincidence. I'll go to work and then people are angry and yelling at us, and then I'll leave work to 4 text messages from my friends what the heck is everybody's problem today? And I'm like, yo, it's literally the same where I am. And of course you guys know that I was a flight attendant before, so all of my friends are all over the world basically, and everybody's having the same vibe. Is that what 2024 is going to be for us? Because I remember promises of greatness this year, and it's been a little hostile. And I'm gonna need y'all to step back and take a couple chill pills because I'm over here taking estrogen shots that are meant to make me angry, and I'm fine until you yell at me, and then I'm wondering how to not go to jail. I'm calm, but why are you yelling? Anyway, this week I have spent working. I feel like I worked a super lot this week. It was a stretch of 5 days, and I had 1 day off, and then I've been working again. So I thought I was going to do something exciting on my day off, and I didn't. I definitely did, let me think. Oh, nothing. I did nothing. I love to spend my days off doing absolutely nothing. I always start the day off with huge plans and I'm going to do all of this stuff, and then I'm in bed for 2 hours because I'm quote unquote resting, and then it's 3 hours and then 4 hours and I'm oh, I should get up and shower, and then I get up and run an errand, and I went to Target and I got shaving cream and razors and new deodorant, and that is what it's like to be an adult and do something exciting on your day off. You get to go to Target and spend a little bit too much money on razors because the only shaving cream you like is there. But you know what? I think I'm fine with it. I'd rather go to Target because it's kind of a vibe. And then I can like look around at home decor that I can't afford, but it's like cute to daydream about it, which is great because this week's episode is about daydreaming. As a resident Aquarius, I spend a lot of my time daydreaming. I could be actively doing something and being productive, and the entire time my mind is probably elsewhere. It kind of gets me in trouble sometimes. Like, I'll be having conversations with my friends and I'm trying to actively listen, but then I'll see something in the background, like a bird, and I'm like, oh my God, I've never seen that bird before. And then I start thinking about that one time I went to Busch Gardens and a bird landed on my arm and it bit me because my friend Elise was like, yeah, let this bird land on your arm. Oh my God, that's so quirky. I know before we came in here you were scared that the bird's gonna bite you, but look, it's not biting you. And then it bites you and then it bleeds, and she's just standing there laughing at you because the inevitable happened. Like I told her it was going to happen in the first place. That's why I didn't want to go in that stupid bird aquarium thing. Anyway, that's definitely that didn't happen. I just like pulled that from somewhere. It was just a story from the internet. Where was I going with? Oh, because of the daydreaming. So this week I got myself in a little bit of a situation when I was daydreaming on the way to work. Driving, I don't recommend daydreaming while you're driving, but sometimes you can't help it. The music was good, I was vibing, and I was like, wow, I'm so early, and I'm going to be at work like 25 minutes early, and I get to kind of just sit there and sit at the desk. And then I was like thinking about all the productive things I can do that I don't really usually have time for. We just got like a new system, so I was like, oh, I'm going to sit at the desk and play with the system and really get to know what I'm doing. And then when I was deep in it. I was deep into Renee Rapp and thinking about how productive I'm going to be with my extra 20 minutes. I sort of woke up and looked around and I was like, where am I? And like the way that I drive to work, it all kind of looks the same. Like if you're driving through Florida, it's literally just wetlands and trees. So I'm like, oh, like maybe this is like a different part of the highway that I just like usually am zoned out in and I don't see. And I didn't have my GPS on for whatever reason. I just got cocky, I guess, and I was like, oh, I know how to get to work, even though I know that I need the prompts. It's not even so much that I'm geographically challenged. Like, I can get to work without the GPS. But if I'm like waking up and going to work, homegirl needs the prompts. I need that girl to be like, let's take a turn. And I'm like, oh, you're right. Because I was definitely, yeah, I was paying attention. I knew that turn was coming up for sure. So I was like, oh yeah, this is like definitely the way. I'm just like, I wasn't paying attention to this part ever before. And then this huge wooden building, like, I passed this huge wooden building and I was like, oh, I've seen that building before. So I definitely think that I'm going the right way. I think, do I see that building every day? And then I realized that maybe I don't see that building every day because I just went to Sarasota like 2 weeks ago, so maybe I saw that building on the way to Sarasota, or did I see it on the way to work? And this entire time that I'm arguing with myself in my head, I didn't think, hey, turn on the GPS. So I passed another exit, and when I passed the exit, I was like, I think I've heard that exit before. I think I've definitely seen that exit before. And then I was like, but you know what? Let me just turn the GPS on so I can still make sure that I'm going to be there early. I was supposed to be there at 1, and I was going to get there at 1:40. I was sometimes a little bit before because there's always this one neighborhood that it takes me through that like cuts off 3 minutes because for some reason it always thinks there's a bunch of stop signs and there's not any stop signs there. So I was like, oh, I'm going to be so early. And then I turned the GPS on and it said I was going to be there at 1:30. It takes me 35 minutes to get to work. I can leave my house and make it to work in 35 minutes. I left my house a little before, like, it was like 12:10 or something. Like, I was like, ooh, I'm going to be so early, I'm going to love it. Why did I get to work at 1:30? I drove so far that I was one exit away from making it to Sarasota. Sarasota from my work is like 45 minutes. I had to call my boss and be like, hey, I'm going to be a little bit late. It's not even that I meant to be late or that I slept in. I literally zoned out and drove 12 to 15 miles past the exit that I needed to get off for work. And she was just laughing on the phone, and I was like laughing inside too, but It's not funny, it's kind of serious, isn't it? And I know it sounds concerning, but like I've daydreamed my entire life. Like I literally used to, like when we were driving, I think I just saw this TikTok the other day about, they were like, oh, you saw the parkour man when you were taking road trips as a child too. I used to like look out the window and imagine like a man running next to the car and like jumping on the telephone wires and stuff like that. And that's so wild because like literally nothing is unique. How did all these people have the same exact experience as I did? And like I thought that was like I would never tell anybody that. That's embarrassing. And yet here I am on a podcast telling everybody that, and it is embarrassing. So daydreaming is like really something that's ingrained in me. Even like when I was growing up in Japan, I was so thankful because I would take the train everywhere, and thank God the train announces like every single station at super high volume when you stop, because if it didn't, the amount of times that I even daydreamed over that, like the announcement would come on and be like, no, 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 and I'd be like, okay, like why is this girl talking in my ear? And then I'd look out the window and I'd like see the sign in Japanese being like, oh, welcome to Abina. And I'd be like, oh, I have to get off, and like run out of the doors as they're closing, or else I have to like go to the next stop and then hop over to the next track and take the next train back, which I have done a multitude of times. And I'm sure like other people have too. Like I know that my friends have done that too. But I think maybe I've let it happen like one or 17 times too many. But the difference between daydreaming as a child and daydreaming now is like now that I'm in my 30s, me 31, saying I'm fully in my 30s, now that I'm in my 30s, I daydream about something and then I like snap to and realize that I actually have the capabilities and like the means to like hop on my daydreams and make them come true. And I'm not talking about the running man when I'm driving, like jumping from telephone pole to telephone pole. I don't know if I could do that. I don't know if I could make that happen. But I'm talking about laying in bed and being like, wow, I wonder what it would be like to have a podcast. And then realizing that I have a MacBook Pro with GarageBand pre installed, a microphone because I was using it for singing covers that I never release, and some cute headphones, which, by the way, I left my headphones in Hawaii. I have been using these Five Below headphones I used it last episode for the first time and this episode too, and they're super cute because they're like Sherpa headphones and they have little rainbows on the side. Newsflash, it's not Sherpa. It feels like they cut cheap carpet out of an IKEA $5 carpet and just smacked it right on the side of this. And also the ear parts for my little ear holes, the entire lobe, the whole ear. What is it's literally called the ear. The part on the headphone that covers your ear is too small, so it presses into my ear, and I can actively feel the back of my earrings stabbing me in my brain. And that's fine because it's Five Below and they're cute, so I'm making like a sacrifice, but I'm making a sacrifice to be cute. And that's just like what life is. Like you just make sacrifices to be cute all the time, every day. I literally just had to pause and go back and listen to what I was saying because I literally forgot. The Five Below headphones are ruining my brain. I can't even think anymore. What is this entire podcast is just going to be me forgetting what I'm doing because these Five Below headphones are squeezing my brain to death. But literally, this podcast is a result of me laying in bed and looking at the microphone and looking at my Mac and me thinking about how I listen to podcasts, like 1, 2, 3 podcasts every single day, and being like, I could do that. This sounds so much fun. And I literally just hopped on it, recorded a trailer, and then started writing notes for like episodes 1 and 2. And then 3, of course, I was just rambling. And I kind of like that vibe because, I don't know, it seems like it fills the time more, and it kind of feels like I'm actually talking to you, which is nice, even though I definitely pause and take breaths and take drinks and then think about what I'm going to say next, which is not something that happens in real life. But you guys don't know that I do that, so it's like fine. Like, don't tell anybody that I do that. I definitely don't do that. That's so embarrassing. Why would you say that I do that? You're so weird. You're so quirky. I do daydream a lot about what like the future of this podcast, and like this is episode 4, and I don't think I ever really thought that I'd actually get to episode 4. I kind of think that I'd get to episode 1 or 2 and like fall off, but I've actually been doing like the weekly on Friday podcast episode, which is wild. And I think largely in part because you guys don't have to see me. So, like, I don't have to get ready. I kind of just sit down in my whole ugliness with, like, whatever coffee I have on hand. It doesn't even have to be cute. I'm literally using this ugly plastic cup, and, like, the latte itself looks ugly. I'm not going to lie to you. So, there's, like, no pressure to just sit down and record. And I wish I could say that it's going to be that way forever. But it probably isn't, and I think that might be a little bit of a little sneak peek hint drop that this isn't gonna be in audio form forever, which I mean it's always gonna be in audio form for everyone. So if video podcasts aren't your thing, then of course you'll still have the audio podcast and we'll include all you guys. But I do kind of want to start filming YouTube videos for these podcasts because, I mean, super long time ago. I think YouTube came out in like 2005. And let me fact check that. I cannot believe that I was right. So YouTube was invented in like 2005 and it used to have these like stupid little tiny videos. And I think I started getting really into YouTube in like 2008 and then I'd film like little videos and put them up, like little covers and put them up. But I was like a huge fan of like the OG YouTubers like Jenna Marbles and like other people who are problematic now or self-canceled or publicly canceled that I just don't watch anymore, like even forget about. But I mean, the covers sort of grew into a thing, and I would have like a weekly YouTube video when I was in high school, and that like really got me into editing. And that was like when I started falling in love with like filming and editing and stuff like that. And then that grew into a collaboration channel that I used to manage. So, me and 3 to 4, it sort of fluctuated, of my friends would have our set day of the week and we would film, edit, and upload the video every single week. And that was a super fun collaboration channel that we've had, or that we had, we don't have it anymore, for a couple months, maybe almost a year. And it was super great. It was originally our way to keep in touch because when I was in Japan, I was doing a lot of YouTube videos, like YouTube music style videos to like One Direction songs of me just in Japan, just having fun with my friends. And I think one of us just came up with the idea of like, oh, we just all want to do it. So we did the collaboration channel. It was called IDC Collaborations, International Daily Collaborations. And it was because all of us were in a different part of the world. So it was very much international. We were trying to get it so that we could do every single day. But I think we just did 3 to 4 days a week, it's fine. And it was kind of just like our daily vlog, or we all had like a theme. Like I had Travel Tuesdays or something, and my friend had like Wacky Wednesday or something like that, and then Freaky Friday. We had like cute little names, and it was an adorable collaboration project, and I miss it all the time. It's so much fun to do things with other people who daydream all the time because it's fun to see where all of your minds go throughout the week and like what content you guys come up with, and it's kind of easy to like bounce off of each other and like not just be your own thing because I am my own worst critic. It's so hard for me to upload YouTube videos now because having to sit down and watch like a 45-minute video of yourself and edit that down while looking at yourself and judging what you look like is intense. Like I stopped editing this podcast last week. I sort of do it in real time now, where if I know there's going to be like a pause, I will literally just hit the stop recording button and take my pause. Or if I have to burp, I'll hit the record button and take a burp. Or if I need to get a sip of my drink, I will hit the record button and take a sip of my drink so that I'm not going back and having to edit every single little thing out. Like right there, I had to take a breath because I didn't breathe for 3 minutes. So I definitely paused the video and took a nice long breath so that I can continue talking for the next 5 minutes without taking a singular breath because that's my secret talent. Daydreaming is like a blessing and a curse because I do have a lot of ideas, so I will write down the ideas in the moment, but after I write the idea down, I start building the idea up in my head, and I will daydream off of that idea until it turns into a completely different idea, and then I just stop writing it all together, and then I have no idea what's going on anymore, and then I'm just daydreaming about something else. So like this episode, I obviously was like, oh, I'm gonna do an episode about daydreaming, and I'll talk about how I daydream all the time. And then I'm pretty sure I started coming up with the next makeup look of what I was going to do the next day and totally forgot about all of my prompts for this. And then I came home today and I was like, oh my God, it's literally Thursday and I haven't filmed. I haven't recorded. I was going to record this yesterday, Wednesday, because it was my day off. And I was like, oh, I have this whole day and I have the house to myself. I'm going to do a stupid podcast. And I was going to take my time and do prompts and blah, blah, blah. And then I didn't because I did nothing except go to Target and get razors and shaving cream because that was my adult activity for the day. I also went to Petco, PetSmart, which is a different thing because I had to pick up my parents' dog. She's a fluffy little dog. She's like a brand new dog and she got her shots. So I went to go pick her up and that was what actually made me leave the house. I think if I didn't have to pick up the dog, I probably wouldn't even gone to Target. I would have just like slouched all day. So my notes folder kind of just looks like me having one thought and I write the thought down and don't elaborate at all. And then when I go to look at my thoughts and prompts, I have to sit there and be like, what the heck does this thought mean? I need to start giving myself voice memos. Like, I just feel like a voice memo with a little bit of context could really help me out in the moment. Or maybe it would just be like me listening to myself ramble for a couple minutes. I can't tell if that would be a good thing or a bad thing. I think it would be a bad thing. I do remember when I was thinking about daydreaming, when I was daydreaming about daydreaming, if you will, that I sort of had this little thought about being ungrateful. Like, I feel like daydreaming is kind of like a product of being ungrateful because really like when are we sitting back and being like, oh God, I love like everything that I have and everything that I'm doing and I never wish for more. Daydreaming to me is always like sort of wishing for more. Like I wish that I lived in my situation right now, but it was Hawaii. Or I'll like drive to work and I'm like, God, I love my Jeep, but I wish it was lifted or something, and then I'll just start daydreaming about what my Jeep could look like, or I'll start daydreaming about where this podcast is going to go. And in me daydreaming about where the podcast is going, I'm completely ignoring my responsibilities of writing prompts so that I'm not just rambling to you guys for 30 minutes, even though I think that's what you want. Is this what you want? Choose me. Love me. Pick me. I watched Grey's Anatomy for a whole 30 seconds of my life, and now I quote it. That just one thing. And you know I watched it deep too, because I think that was like real deep into the seasons when she finally said that. Anyway, in daydreaming about this podcast, I think I'm gonna start getting guests that can bounce back and forth. So I know it's gonna be more editing, because obviously I can't press the pause button when you're in the middle of a conversation with another person. But I think it's going to be fun. I think it's a little bit of a light under my booty because it just seems exciting. Like, it's not just a me thing. Like, I'm not sitting in my kitchen alone making cupcakes and then eating the cupcakes all by myself. I get to share the cupcake with another person. Does that make any sense? But the guests that I have on this podcast, I don't want them to be like just people who want to be on the podcast. I want to get people who experience life in a different way. Like, obviously, I don't experience life like a majority of the people on Earth because I am a person of color. I am a trans person of color. I live in the South, so it's going to be even different than like trans people of color who live in California, which I've done before, and so I know it's completely different. Or, I just want somebody who may go out in public and get a few looks for just them being the person that they are. And so I don't want to have just like a random person that's going to talk at you guys. Like, I want you guys to get something out of it. And I think you'll definitely get a little bit more out of those episodes than what you get out of me talking to myself, because like this episode's about daydreaming. It's literally going to be called I'm a Daydreamer, when really this episode would be called I'm a Rambler, because literally I just ramble, which is that's another great. I'm gonna put that down. I'm literally not gonna put that down, but like maybe I will. Who knows? No idea is a bad idea. I'm actually gonna take that back because there are some bad people on this earth and they have a lot of bad ideas. Like, no idea is a bad idea, but like murder is probably a bad idea. I don't know. If you're like walking down the street and you have that intrusive thought to like kick that little child, that's probably a bad idea. Those are our inside thoughts. And if you are having inside thoughts about murder, I feel like maybe you should seek therapy or, I don't know, step away from your retail job. Not forever, pay the bills. I'm not telling you to quit your job. I'm not Beyonce, but I am saying that when you leave work, you should probably leave it at work and like go get a latte and enjoy the breeze, you know? Sometimes you just need a little bit of breeze to knock that murder thought out of your brain. I don't know what. I'm gonna stop talking about murder. I went home early from work today and I watched American Assassin and then I watched the what is it? What are those things that you get when you go on vacation? You send them to your friend. I think it's called the postcard murders. Why does postcard sound weird? Anyway, so I've watched a lot of murder today, and now I've got murder on my brain. Should I be saying that out loud? Also, have you guys seen this thing going on in Austin, Texas, where they keep finding like men's bodies in this one lake? Like, I think they're on the sixth body. I saw a news reporter on TikTok earlier, like he does channel 10 news at 10 p.m. or some crap like that, and he's literally sitting at the lake at 9:30 waiting for the news to come on. I'm like, are you not? You look like all of these other men that got murdered and thrown into that lake. Like, what? You're brave. And I wish I didn't find that exciting, but I mean, I watch a lot of true crime, and like, it's a lot about old serial killers, and like, there aren't many serial killers in real life. Although, I remember one time I was having a layover in like Wisconsin or something, and they were like warning us not to go out by ourselves because there was like a suspected killer on the loose. So, I mean, maybe there are serial killers. Like, why don't we talk about active serial killers? Are they like not trying to call them serial killers? Is that why? Like, there are serial killers, but I think like the cops try not to say that they're serial killers so that they can trick us into thinking that things are hunky dory. That's so American. I feel like that's so American. They're like, no, everything's fine. We're not going into a recession. And meanwhile, everybody's starving and they can't find a place to live. Anyway, thank you for listening to my murder pot. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But maybe I will do an episode about murder. How many times have I said murder in this podcast? How many people are listening to this in the morning and they're just listening to me say murder? Murder, murder, murder. When you start saying a word too much and it sounds weird. I just had to what? I just had to pause this freaking podcast for the longest time because there was an airplane flying close to. I don't even live that close to an airport. Like, I never hear airplanes. Maybe because the fan is on usually. Allegiant, I'm gonna need y'all to fly a little bit higher because you're interrupting my podcast. Okay? I have a very professional podcast that I do in the corner of my bedroom at 9 p.m. at night. Okay? I don't need you to ruin my podcast like that. Anyway, maybe that's enough shenanigans. I hope you guys had fun daydreaming with me about murder this week. But really, I do think that I'm gonna start getting some quirky folks on this podcast and incorporating them when I start doing video podcasts. I am trying to figure out how to do a video podcast because I don't want to invite them here because I've got dogs and I feel like that's a little bit of a weird situation for some. So I'm thinking about renting out a podcast studio place, which was a thing that you can do online. I didn't know that you could do that online until like a couple days ago, and I just decided to Google podcast space rentals, and you can get them for like $50 an hour for like a not cute one, or you could get a really cute one for $150. And I'm definitely not doing that because homie's not rich. But I think that would be cute. No, would that be cute? Would you like that? I mean, would you even watch it? Would it even matter? I mean, it's going to upload to YouTube. All of these episodes will be on YouTube after episode 5 too. Right now, I am on Spotify and Apple Podcasts because that's what I pay for and that's what I get uploaded to. So, I mean, expansion could be a little nice. Also, I could take little clips and upload them to TikTok, and I think that would be cute because I like TikTok. Anyway, now that I'm finally off murder, I think I'm gonna go not finish the rest of this old Dunkin' Donuts latte, pour that out, have a nice glass of water, take my testosterone blocker, and mind my own business. If you would like to follow me outside of this podcast, I am Damiana Grande on every platform, and of course, Coffee and Tea on iTunes and Spotify. Talk to you soon, babes. XOXO, Coffee and Tea.